As you just heard, this is unprecedented, the worst wildfire season in Canadian recorded history, and it's not even the end of June yet. It's really shocking. Even though we're getting warnings that today the smoke is going to get very bad, it's dangerous for us to be out here, we're taking that personal risk because we know that the risk is so much greater if our politicians continue to delay climate action. There are over 30 events happening all across the country right now. The fact that people in small communities, in big cities, in all sorts of communities across the country are taking action sends a message that our politicians can't ignore. When unprecedented climate impacts occur, many of us get paralyzed by fear and despair, and we can become silent. Our neighbors are worried about this too. Our friends are worried about this too. And so by doing actions like this, by getting out in the streets, by holding signs, we start to shake that silence up, and that's what it's all about. So again, thank you so much for coming out today, for getting loud, and for breaking that silence and refusing to give in to despair. The media is covering these wildfires as if they just happened. They may mention climate change, but they very rarely make the link that climate change is caused by the burning of fossil fuels. Yes. And our government is still not standing up to big oil. We have to stop the fossil fuel industry. We need an immediate cap on oil and gas emissions, a hard cap on oil and gas emissions. We need an immediate end to all subsidies for fossil fuel, not just inefficient subsidies, all subsidies for the fossil fuel industry. We should not be fueling climate chaos with our tax laws. No more new approval for fossil fuel projects. If we're going to transition, let's transition. Let's not talk about it. No new fossil fuel projects. And no more industry influence over our politics. The second demand for this day of action is enact a just transition that shifts us to 100% renewable energy, generates millions of unionized jobs, follows Indigenous leadership, and rapidly decarbonizes in line with what climate scientists are telling us to do. We need emergency level action on the climate crisis. It's very powerful to see people of all ages and backgrounds coming out. It's so powerful for young people to see the older generations taking action and standing for us. It warms my heart. It's a beautiful thing. We have to keep standing together. It's not generations against generations. It's us against big oil.
Hello, Jen Hara. She's the Canada Research Chair in Economy and Environment in the School of Environmental Studies at Queen's University. Welcome, Sarah.
So 5 years ago, I moved to Kingston from Sydney, Australia. I had been there for almost 10 years. Both my children were born there, and I absolutely loved it. But in the last few years that I was there, it was becoming pretty obvious to me that Australia was not going to be a safe place to raise my family. So in the summer, temperatures in Sydney's outer suburbs started reaching close to 50 degrees. And of course, there was always the threat of wildfires. In comparison, Canada, where I was born and raised, seemed like a really safe bet. Lower temperatures to start out with, lots of fresh water. My kids will be safe there, I thought. Just over a year after I left, Australia experienced an absolutely devastating fire season. The fires burnt an estimated 243,000 square kilometers, destroyed over 3,000 buildings, killed at least 34 people, and killed or harmed some 3 billion animals. I was heartbroken for my friends and for my adopted country. But I counted my blessings too, because I was safe, and most importantly, my kids were safe. But of course, that feeling of safety was temporary, and it was always a bit of a delusion that I used to protect myself from really having to come to terms with the reality that nowhere is safe anymore. The smoke that we experienced here in Kingston put me out of commission for a few days with blinding headaches, and my kids were boarded up inside their primary school, unable to go outside for recess or lunch. If I can leave you with one message today, let it be this. Nothing about what is happening right now was inevitable. This isn't fate. This isn't the price that we have to pay for having a civilization. Canada is on fire because a very small group of people made choices. They chose to continue to profit from selling a product even though they knew that threatened the future of all life on Earth. They chose to lie and manipulate and disinform the public so that they could keep selling this product. They even convinced governments, including Canada's, to subsidize the production and consumption of this product to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. That product is fossil fuels, coal, oil, and gas. Don't let anyone tell you that gas is a bridge fuel. Burning gas can be worse in some cases than coal. These fossil fuels are killing the planet, and fossil fuel executives, not the workers, the CEOs, are to blame. So are the bank executives, especially David McKay, the head of RBC, the biggest funder of fossil fuel projects, not just in Canada, but in the world. Now, these are very powerful people. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of friends in government. But there is one thing that scares them. They are scared that people are going to wake up, realize what they've done, and be very, very angry about it. Are you angry? Good.
What do we want? When do we want it? Now. What do we want? When do we want it?
Both the lies and truth are clear. The planet is hurting, and still she heals me, and still the earth is here. Rooting and rising, flooding and drying, burning but still trying to survive, dying, soon to be reborn, as she restores balance once our world is finally torn. But what could ever undo this damage? The state we're in is severe and strange, but I want to believe that just like change, the power of love is infinite.
Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Climate justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
This isn't fate. This isn't the price that we have to pay for having a civilization.